everyone, and welcome to Good Games Spawn Point, the show for younger gamers by gamers. I'm Bajo.
And I'm Hex.
And I am Darren.
He's back.
I never went away.
No, not you, Darren. Sly Cooper, the raccoon Robin Hood. He's back with his new game, Thieves in Time.
It's not all about you, Darren.
Negative.
Such a diva.
Negative.
Time for a little target practice.
I love the cartoony look of that game. Also, we're going to delve into the deep strategy of Skulls of the Shogun.
You promise not to let your Advance Wars bias colour your scoring, right, Bajo?
Oh yeah, Darren, I totally promise.
Yeah, all right, you two. I've got some news to report on.
Sorry, I've just got something stuck in my eye, Darren. That hurts.
Do you still play Advance Wars?
I play Advance Wars all the time. I play it everywhere. I play it on the bus, play it on the train, I play it on the toilet.
Oh, that reminds me, I've got a dump coming on.
Hold it, Darren! Hold it!
It's on its way.
Make it go back in!
It's in the bomb bay.
Hold it!
Hex here with all the news from the gaming world. Researchers from the University of Padua in Italy have found playing action video games may help children with dyslexia improve their reading skills. The researchers compared 10 children who spent sessions playing the relatively action-packed Rayman Raving Rabbids against 10 children who played a more placid game. Those who played the action game were found to have better attention skills and could read faster without any reduced accuracy. They also found that playing action games for just 12 hours over time improved reading skills more than the average amount of reading time in a year. Danny Kitchen, a young gamer in Britain, gave his parents the ultimate bill shock after accidentally spending over $2,500 on microtransactions in Zombies vs. Ninjas, a free-to-play iPad game. Danny wasn't aware that bundles of in-game bombs and keys were costing over $100 per purchase. Apple refunded the money after realizing it was an honest mistake. It is possible to use parental controls that can disable in-app purchases. And finally, Italian engineer Daniele Beneditelli has built a Lego robot known as Legonardo that can draw. Okay.
Alright, Skulls of the Shogun is a new strategy downloadable game that we played on 360. Set in the afterlife of Japanese mythology, it puts you in control of General Akamoto, a master tactician who seeks vengeance from beyond the grave.
Robbed of the chance to conquer Japan while he was alive, Akamoto has vowed to exert his rule over the land of the dead. Ooh.
In ancient times, the Shogun was the military dictator of Japan. The skulls in the title refers to the way that Akamoto and his cronies can gobble up the skulls of his defeated enemies to regain health. Skulls are a valuable resource. The tactics follow a rock, paper, scissors style dynamic. Infantry are tough but have limited range. Cavalry are weaker but have plenty of movement. Archers can bombard with impunity, but are weak to melee attacks.
Yeah, it's pretty deep, and you know, I love a bit of turn-based strategy, and I've been craving an Advance Wars game for quite a while now, and this one, while it feels very similar, there is still a lot to get used to. For starters, your units aren't locked to a grid. Unlike, say, chess, where every piece sits in its own square, you can move your samurai around in free-form fashion all willy-nilly. This makes judging distances a bit tricky. Then there's the terrain. There are cool things you can do, like hide in bamboo to reduce the enemy's chance to hit you, and you can even push your foes off cliffs. But the landscape is drawn in very broad strokes, so there aren't many chances to use the terrain to your advantage.
Well, that's when your unit formations come in handy, Bajo. When any two of your units are right next to each other, a glowing spirit wall forms between them. This adds a defense bonus, which makes them immune to knockback. Unit placement is critical. If you snipe carefully with your archers and make a few cheeky hit-and-run attacks with your cavalry, then you can win even if you're outnumbered.
Unlike, say, Advance Wars, where you can move every single unit each turn, you can only choose 5 different units to move. This makes gobbling skulls crucial, as a fully upgraded unit can move and attack twice. As you build up your forces, you can punch through the enemy faster. You get a satisfying sense of progression in every battle.
But of course, the more valuable a unit is, the bigger the setback when they get taken out. And if you get stuck in a losing streak, there's no real way to recover. It's like watching a fail video in slow motion.
The graphics are quite cartoony, but they still get across all the info you need. And you can tell which units are damaged because their banners are torn, and zooming in and out is quite smooth as well.
But if your units get bunched up, it can be hard to kind of pick them out, even on a big TV. And I imagine it would be much more difficult on a smaller device.
I do really like how the game evokes some of the more eccentric aspects of Japanese mythology. One thing I will say though is that the game could be quite frustrating for newcomers, as even though it looks quite cute, it can be quite tricky to master.
Yeah, but that's kind of what I like about it the most, Hex, because there's always some element of trial and error, something that you couldn't foresee, so you have to play the levels a couple of times to get through, get that sense of satisfaction. Well, what are you going to give it, Hex?
Well, I think it was well presented and it's got some nice humour to it as well. I found the game overall was too messy to be considered a true strategy classic, so I'm giving it 7.
I agree with you, but I'm still going to give it 8. Oh, it looks like Darren's about to let us dump out. Let's get out of here!
The dump is coming! It's on its way! Today's data dump is about turn-based strategy. Whether they're set in the past, present or future, all strategy games have one big thing in common. If you want to win, you have to plan ahead and consider the consequences of your actions. You can't just charge in willy-nilly and do the first thing that pops into your head, because your opponent will have anticipated your moves. In turn-based strategy games, you and your opponent take turns to move your units and attack, unlike in real-time strategy games where everything unfolds all at once. The Total War games have elements of both playstyles. You take turns to move your armies around, then it switches to real time when they fight. The biggest turn-based strategy game in the world existed long before video games came along. It's called chess. And if you think about it, Pokemon's a bit of a turn-based strategy game too. Remember, in any strategy game, as in life, you should always use your head. It's super effective. Data dump complete.
All right, let's get this computer booted up. Get the phone booted up, the other phone booted up, get the calculator booted up. I just hope you get your computer booted up.
My computer's booted up.
And we are good to go. Who's up first today, Hex?
All right, well, how about this one from K-Die? Or KD, maybe? In Fran A's Perth? Oh, I think it's like Française Perth.
Française Perth.
Française Perth.
Yeah, that's in Perth.
In Western Australia.
In Western Australia. Good Dieu, good game. J'ai adieu votre mission. That's French for I love your show. I live in Western Australia, in Germany. Can you please answer my question? I've heard there is a new Professor Layton game coming out. Yes, another one. I would like to know what it is called and when it will be coming out. Thanks so much. Lots of love. Que Dieu. P.S. How does Darren play games? I have always wondered how you hold a controller with pass-to-scoop hands. Until I tried it. I don't recommend doing that unless your controllers all need replacing anyway. There is indeed a new Professor Layton game coming out, KD. In fact, there's 3 that we know of. One is called Professor Layton and the D.A.R.R.E.N Legacies. Another one is Professor Layton versus Ace Attorney. And finally, there's Professor Layton and the 7 Phantom Thieves of the Century, which is actually going to be a mobile game.
As for when they're coming out, well, we don't know. No release date has been confirmed for any of them, although the D.A.R.R.E.N Legacies and versus Ace Attorney are already out in Japan, so we'd guess that at least one of those will be out here later this year, maybe both if we're lucky, but there's no confirmed release date for the mobile game.
As for how Darren plays games with his pass-to-scoop hands, I'm pretty sure he can just interface wirelessly with consoles, because you really need thumbs to use a controller, and I don't think he can get his hands close enough together to even hold one with those robot arms of his. How do I hold a controller?
All right.
You should see him do pottery.
Well,
Rubbish.
let's just move on. Well, no, he wouldn't be rubbish. He'd just make really he'd make pots with grooves in them.
It all just comes out looking like pasta. It's not
Pasta
cool.
pottery.
Yeah.
Well, I think that would be artistic. Anyway. Oh, here's a good one. It's from Hex Rocks in Hex Rocks Village. I'd like to live there, in Queensland.
I hear they got a lot of pasta pottery up there. Here it's...
Proudly displayed on
it's
every corner. Hi, good game. I want Hex to answer this. So here I go. I want to get Pixel People, but I am not sure if it'll work on my iPod. Will it or will it not? Thanks, Hex. You rock. Bargo is okay.
Okay! Well, I guess that's okay.
Well, Hex Rocks, without actually knowing what model iPod you have, we can't really give you a yes or no answer. But we can tell you that the game requires you to have at least iOS 4.3.1, which means that if you have a first, second, or 8GB third generation iPod Touch, then sadly it won't work, since you need at least a 16GB third generation model to get that update.
But if you're not sure which model you actually have, it's a free game, so there's no harm in simply going to the App Store and trying to install it and see if it works.
Yeah, good advice. All right, we'll move on to this one from King Steampunk, who is in the airship yards in South Australia.
Hi, GGSP! I was wondering if you have heard, or completed, the game Super Hexagon. I would like to see what you think about it. Bajo was awesome! Hex is a super hexagon. And Darren needs new pasta scoop hands. The king has spoken.
Well, we have indeed heard of and played Super Hexagon King Steampunk, but no, we haven't completed it because it is ridiculously hard. But it's a great little game, really fast and simple, and really fun.
Yeah, I think the best I've ever done is just over 100 seconds on the easiest game mode, which I was pretty proud of.
Yeah, I think that's a really good effort. I don't think I managed to get half as long as that. But let's move on to this one from Ethan, who is in Sydney, Wattle Grove, New South Wales. Dear GGSP, when does Lego City Undercover get released, and can you get it on the actual Wii?
Well, we have some good news and some bad news. The good news is that Lego City Undercover is just a few short weeks away, and it will be released on the 28th of March. But the bad news is that no, it's not coming out for the plain old Wii. It's only on the Wii U, and of course, there's the other version for the 3DS too. Nice.
Well, now we have this one from Erland, who is on Qantas flight QF09 outside Australia.
I am currently moving to Norway. When I exited Australia and tried to watch your show on iView, it said it didn't work because of copyright. If that's the case, how can I watch it on your website? Also, while I was on the plane, I was playing Pocket Planes when my Birchcraft C started flying upside down while a bunch of cockpit alarms sounded. What is this? P.S. Can you please release a copy of A Very Darren Christmas? With a cherry on top? Hey!
Well, Erland, we won't go into all the technical details, but essentially, as well as Spawn Point, iView has lots of other programs on it that can only be seen in Australia. Lots of other countries have similar services to iView, including, I believe, Norway. But we're glad that you can still watch the show from our website or download it.
Yes, as for your plane flying upside down, that's just a little Easter egg that happens on occasion. And also, Darren's Christmas, while we're talking about it, I believe A Very Darren Christmas is currently in a landfill. They didn't sell enough of them, and they've been pulped and put into a landfill because a lot of people were getting really upset when they listened to it.
Around Christmas time, we might get him to bust out a few tunes. But, as for the album,
yeah, but he's not going to get another record deal, that's for sure. Let's move on to this one from person who is in confusion in Victoria.
I know game genres, but last year you reviewed a game called Journey. I don't have the game, so please don't make it sound like I'm a noob. If you can easily justify an answer, it's just that this game has arguably little gameplay, so which genre of game is it most closely related to? Thank you for your time. P.S. Show this on your show. P.P.S. Well, it's an interesting point, person. We'd agree that Journey doesn't really fit into any one genre, but seeing as jumping and sliding around are the main mechanics, I'd say it probably most closely resembles a platformer.
I'd call it an emotional cooperative platform adventure sand surfing game. It's not the biggest genre out there, Hex, but it's definitely going to be the next big thing.
Really?
I think so.
Are there any other games that are in that genre that are coming out, Bajo?
Heaps of them.
Really?
Yeah.
Heaps?
Yeah.
Name one.
There's Sand Surfing Simulator 2013. There's My Big Scarf Adventures, which is also in a sand. It's like a gritty reboot in a sand kind of area. It's kind of like the next Mario, except the graphics are all about scarf physics. Anyway, they're just going to blow your mind. I've just been reading about them.
Okay. I mean, those games just sound like Journey, pretty much. So
Well, the rumour mill's been going off about them, so I think you find they're real games, and I'm not making it up just to get attention. I think you find they're completely real.
I don't think they exist.
Not making it up to sound
Personally,
important and
I
intelligent.
will give you
Not
all of
making it
my
up to sound
games
like I've got the scoop.
if either of those games ever come out.
Better be gameless. I'm going to sleep on your games, going to make a bet out of your games.
All right.
Terrible deal for you, great deal for me.
Okay.
Bet
Look,
of games.
let's just move on to this question from Minecraft Man, who likes to mine and craft in Minecraft, who is from Minecraft Island, outside Australia.
Hey GGSP, I watch your show with super hydronic redstone human motor to make my TV power and work. And I watched your show and you were reviewing Truck Simulator 2. Is it out PlayStation or Xbox? And can you gear off the road and explore Europe? Thanks. Breaking news, I've got the scoop on this one. The sand surfing genre has been cancelled.
Really?
Yeah.
Cancelled?
Came through on my line.
It's not just that it never existed to begin with and that you just made it up.
No, it's
completely.
been completely cancelled. Determining factors is they couldn't get enough sand-related microtransactions in there, so no one was going to buy any sand because buying sand isn't great. So you can keep all your games.
Okay. Lucky me.
Yeah, I've got enough sand in my house, so I would have bought some. But anyway, well, sorry to say, Minecraft Man, but that's a double no. It is not out on PlayStation or Xbox and is only available for PCs. And no, you can't really go off-road.
Well, actually, you can a little bit. But yeah, I mean, off-roading is certainly not encouraged if you want to save your money. Anyway, time for just one more question today. So let's go to this one from Li Ling, who is in Tropico City in Western Australia. I am actually born in China, but anyway, I will soon be the mayor of Tropico, but I have questions to ask you to help me for my time as Presidente. 1. What cheat tip is there to increase exports to the world? 2. How do you increase speed for productions like farming, factories, etc.? I will allow you to talk about cheat or helping me. Thank you! From the new Presidente, Li Ling. P.S. Hex is awesome, Bajo is cool, and Darren, I find you a noob, but only because you are so rude to Hex and Bajo. PPS, what are some good expansion packs for Tropico 4? Thanks!
Well, El Presidente, if you wanted a straight-up cheat, then I suggest to enter some cheats. If you're on PC, simply hold down to... Excuse me for a moment. Bajo speaking.
Hello, it's Darren.
Oh, hi, Darren. We're just in the middle of something here, Darren. Can you
Yeah,
call
we're
back
really
later?
busy, so we don't really have time.
If you want to cheat, then hold down Shift, and if you're on the 360, pause the game and hold down both thumbsticks until you get the option to enter a cheat.
That, Darren.
The best cheats for increasing your exports are Muchos Pesos or Speedy Gonzales, which will make building construction instant, while the cheat code DINGRATS will give all your workers maximum experience and make students graduate instantly.
Okay, well that's
Darren.
fine. We've just got to...
But be careful. If you like achievements, be aware that you won't get any if you activate cheats. So if you want to get your achievements without cheating, our tip would be to focus on developing whatever resources your island is rich in and focus on that industry. It's also a good idea early on to set up some cash crop farms like coffee and sugar.
Thanks, Darren. I just can't stop him talking.
Always with
Just
this.
going on and on.
Attention, this is El Presidente. To speed up production, the main thing is to ensure your people live near their farms. Also ensure there's a garage close by so it doesn't take them ages to get to work and deliver their goods.
When did he install a loudspeaker?
Secondly, if you can develop a well-trained and experienced workforce, that will also boost your output. As for expansions, the one to get is Modern Times, which includes loads of new buildings and options. The other DLC packs don't include nearly as much content. And the menu in the ABC cafeteria today includes a special edition cheese sandwich with extra chunky cheese. That's a chunky cheese sandwich. Be sure to get in before Tony Jones arrives. He always gobbles them up.
What are you doing? Bajo, we have to do the review.
Well, this week, I came prepared. No need for your dodgy arts and craft, Darren, because I brought my own proper Sly Cooper mask.
We weren't planning on wearing any masks, though, were we, Hex?
No, but Bajo, you are welcome to wear one if that's what you want to do.
I do want to do that.
Okay, well, Sly Cooper has been missing in action for 7 years, but now he's back with his new game, Thieves in Time. Can you see out of that? Because it looks like the eye holes are really small.
I can't hear very much, though.
It's a distinct improvement.
Oh, thanks, Darren.
How do you like my cane style?
I can't believe it's been 7 years since the Sly Cooper game. Darren, could you access your database, please, and give us a bit of a refresher?
Affirmative. Well, originally, Sly Cooper starred in a trilogy of platform games on the PS2. He's a master thief raccoon who steals from sinister criminals, a bit like a modern-day Robin Hood. He does a lot of sneaking around stealthily, and he also relies on his gang's strongman, Murray, and the tech genius, Bentley.
Thanks, Darren. Well, I have to say, I didn't really enjoy this game much at first. There was just a lot of dull box smashing to collect coins, and the platforming is pretty much on rails. Instead of being able to jump and climb around normally, you have to look for sparkly parts of the background, then pressing the sneak button locks you onto them. And just when I started to feel like I wanted to put the controller down, they went back in time.
You got it, chum!
Do not slow down, Murray!
I never do! Whoa!
The first time jump takes you to feudal Japan, and because of the future technology being used, you can take advantage of Sly's hacker sidekick Bentley. He gets to do fun things like following samurais with remote-controlled cars.
A kick in the sky works like magic!
Bentley also uses his computer to hack into security systems. Thankfully, rather than dull code breaking, these hacks play out as Tron-inspired minigames. One sees you controlling a tank to collect keys and shoot at physical firewalls. Another sees a powered-up version of Bentley flying around with a jetpack blasting viruses.
Complete.
Now, we've seen some games with some pretty crazy levels, but I think this one takes the cake. Turns out Sly's ancestor is a ninja sushi chef. So I was sneaking through a sushi restaurant when I walked around the corner and saw this.
Yeah, I mean, who designs an indoor swimming pool that you can only cross by jumping between a line of sumo dolls being smashed together?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. But some of the ninja stuff here was a bit of a low point for me because the platforming felt even more like it was on rails. But then it jumped to the Wild West.
We arrived in the Wild West, looking for my ancestor, Tennessee Kid Cooper.
Affirmative, and Sly gets involved in a classic Western jailbreak. He gets slapped with a huge ball and chain, which he can use in some clever ways.
Naturally, Sly's cowboy ancestor packs a pistol. The third-person shooting's a pretty big departure from normal Sly action, but they've done a good job of using slow-mo to let you mark targets easily.
Now that's what I call shooting!
Plus, there are a few explosive sequences as you blast barrels and enemies while hurtling along railway tracks.
Stage hit that barrier!
Watch where you're going! I mean, you sure can't fault this game's variety. One of the criticisms I would give it, though, is that some of the sections really overstay their welcome, in particular the boss battles, which are a bit of a grind.
I should dodge those whirlwinds.
That wasn't very much fun.
Yeah, and some of the dialogue is pretty cheesy.
The last time I was in these sewers, I was just a teenager.
And I can't say that I made much sense of the game's plot either. I mean, there's this time-traveling criminal mastermind guy who's hopping through history and stealing all these rare artifacts, but if you had a time machine, wouldn't you just go back in time and give yourself the winning lottery numbers?
Don't overthink it, Hex. Just go with it.
Yeah, but
just go with the
it's
flow.
just so much hard work.
Well, what are you going to give it?
Well, I just wish Sly's core platforming had been tightened up a bit, because it really is quite simplistic. That said, it's been a long time since I've played a platform with this much variety, and the time travel was really cool, so I'm giving it 7.5.
Yeah, it was that variety that won me over in the end, so I'm going to give it 8.
Well, Bajo, I think you can safely remove your mask now.
Darren, show's not over yet.
Next week on Spawn Point, another big game reboot with SimCity.
Ooh, I just can't wait to lay down some thoroughly complex electricity grids and water pipe infrastructure.
You make it sound so fun, Darren.
Well, till next time, may all your games be good ones. Hex out.
Bajo out.
Darren out. All right, show's over. Take off the mask.
Okay. Oh, it's just my backup mask. Don't you have a backup mask?